Who the heck are you? I'm you in about a year or so. A year or so? Jeez, what happened? What happened? What is that supposed to mean? Well, look at you. You're smaller. You have less paint. You're uglier. Excuse me, I'm uglier? Says the one who looks like Cookie Monster humped a bunch of weeds. Oh, you're just asking for it now, Buster, aren't ya? Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew, and today we are doing another figure review, but this is going to be kind of a different one, if you can believe this, because what we are reviewing is a figure that technically has already been released before, but it's not, but it is, but it's not. It is the Playmates version 2 Shin Godzilla. The reason why I say version 2 is because if you remember back last year, or I guess the year before this one was released, I guess 2020, this guy hit store shelves and caught the internet by wildfire. People were saying that this thing sucks. People were saying like this thing is an abomination. And of course, when we eventually found out the situation, we kind of forgave this figure, gave it a little bit of a break. But they since discontinued this figure and revamped it with a completely different, well, almost, you'll see it in a minute, pretty much an almost completely new figure from the ground up. So, will this undo the mistakes of Playmates' Shin Godzilla from the yesterday? Or will this be just another dud in bad Godzilla figure history? Let's go. Starting with sculpt and paint, there are several notes I want to make. However, when I see this face, it reminds me a lot of a Shin Godzilla anime crossover with I think a Japanese anime kids cartoon show. I can't remember the name of it, but it was very like weird in terms of humor, and like I can't remember. I can't believe I'm saying this, but there was one scene where the kid sat his butt in Shin Godzilla's mouth, and I don't know what it was. It was weird out of context, but like this is kind of like what I'm seeing with the head design, doesn't it? It looks like something out of like an anime or drawing or something. But yeah, the face is actually painted pretty dang well. I like the application on the teeth. The bottom of the jaw, which keep in mind that is definitely not a bottom jaw. That is definitely, actually that might be a tongue. Huh. That actually might be a tongue. Maybe intentionally it's supposed to be like a bottom jaw, but like that definitely looks like a tongue. Even though Shin Godzilla never had a tongue. So we have some red dry brushing at the top, some more streaks of red down here. No paint for the claws, although they are angled in a very nice position with him just kind of roaring up and everything. We're going to talk about the spines in a sec. Here we have the legs, which now that I'm looking at this, am I the only one that thinks that this is like Godzilla on the aircraft carrier? Like on 2021 Godzilla vs. Kong? Like he literally had this leg position. One leg like this, one leg like this. This is straight up Godzilla 2021. I like this. Of course, you got more streaks of red paint. I kind of wish this was a bit more cleaned up. Definitely think that could have been tightened up a little bit. This, a little bit more cleaned up, but I mean, it's alright for the price point. $13, not bad. We have some paint applications for the claws. The feet, specifically, look pretty nice as well. And the tail has kind of a few segments of red on top here, sides here, nothing here, but then we have some sides on segments of red on the sides here. Again, I kind of wish they were a bit more cleaned up, not necessarily just lines, because, like, just look at that. And then here we have the tail, which, my gosh, this is actually a pretty nice tail, although it is very shallow in terms of detail. So, like, what am I specifically about to talk about with the this figure overall? Well, when we compare it to the original, it's obviously not the NECA mold, which this is the NECA mold, this is not. 100%. This straight up used the NECA mold, reposed it, and there you go. Bam, sold on store shelves. This is a completely new mold from the ground up, almost. There's one thing I did not point out. Can you guess what it is? Well, it's specifically two things. The paint job and the dorsal spikes, dorsal fins, whatever you want to call it. Because both of them share the exact same color palette and the exact same application. They both share the same eyes, which by this one's logic, this one should just be rings of, just white rings and then having the black backing as its pupil. Both of them have the exact same red in the exact same areas. Keep in mind, we're talking about the legs, the chest. The only real difference between the paint is that, like, claw paint this one has claw paint, this one doesn't. And the teeth paint are the exact same color. Look at that. Even the jaw paint, even like the tongue, mouth paint is the same. And even the application on the tail is the same, more or less. See, we have the segments, the top of the tail, right here, no paint. Then we have midway through the section, a bit of paint, and then no paint, and then boom, paint for the tip of the tail. And I will say that, yes, this has a better mold than this one for the tip of the tail, but that's not to say that this one is bad. No. Far from it. And when I mentioned the dorsal fins, this one borrows the NECA mold, obviously, and has only paint on the outsides of the spikes. See? This one actually reuses the NECA mold. See, it's even like the same... It's literally the same sculpt. There's no mistaking it here. Look at the dorsal fins, see? It's the exact same. The difference is that this one's actually painted on the dorsal fins and not just on the outer row of spines. So, I mean, would I consider that lazy? I mean, if you want to look at it that way, sure. But I really think that this is really like a good artistic choice on their part because it looks fine. This looks like it was meant to be part of it. So overall, I would say that this is definitely an upgrade. I would say that, yeah, just tighten up the quality, give it this guy's claw paint, and we're all good. Articulation time. For articulation, we have a head swivel, obviously. Nothing at the jaw, of course. We have a rotation at the arm. You can go up and down, obviously. Same with this one. Up and down, not too much. Here we have the leg swivel. And actually, for once, you can, or at least should be able, to go full 360. Look at that. If the arm wasn't in the way, you'd definitely be able to go 360. Unlike the previous one, which only had legit only this much movement. Literally 25%. Look, I'm not making this up. Like, look at this. Oh, crap. Okay, don't want this guy to get scuffed or anything. Gotta keep it in the best condition that I can. I'm just gonna rest him on the floor. Or table, I guess. That's all his range. But, of course, this guy can do full 360. This guy's feet can obviously swivel back and forth. Ball jointed tail. And nothing here, surprisingly, although the ball joint here is a lot more better, because you can actually do a full 360. Yes! Unlike the previous one, which not only couldn't do a full 360, but even if you tried just swiveling it, it would split the plastic. Dang it! I keep dropping this thing. Okay, it would not only split the plastic if you went too far, like you would split this part, but you would also grind up against the plastic. You see that? Yeah, not very good quality. So, overall, Playmates really one-upped themselves, and I'm very happy that they've improved. Now, just to really quick, give a quick size comparison between the two. Yes, this one is a bit smaller, but I think this fits better in terms of a scaling thing compared to the other figures, because this one was just a bit too big, in my opinion. And obviously, you know, the Playmates is going to be a bit longer, actually. Just putting this side by side. It is going to be the longer figure of the two, but I figure out that if you put it up this way, this reminds me of the Monster King Shin Godzilla. In fact, this whole thing is like an amalgamation of all the Shin Godzilla vinyl figures that have been released throughout the years. And for another size comparison, here he is with some actual NECA figures. With the NECA Shin Godzilla Atomic Blast, which to this day I do not own the original yet. The NECA King Kong Skull Island crew, and Godzilla 2014, obviously NECA, first release of the NECA Godzilla line, my absolute favorite figure of the entire collection, even to this day. And here he is with the comparison that you guys, one of the comparisons that you guys have probably been waiting for, the Bandai Movie Monster Series Shin Godzilla original release, and the bootleg Movie Monster Series Shin Godzilla Bandai, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And in terms of color scheme, he really reminded me more of this because it was kind of like a hodgy-podgy kind of color scheme because they just kind of slapped it on. But the more I look at it, it's more of like an even kind of color. You see this? It's much more darker, but it's not necessarily as dark as the... Okay, maybe it's actually just as dark. But this is definitely like 1-to-1, you know? So, yeah, that's just... Also, hold on. Some of it's made of vinyl, some of it's made of hard plastic. So either way, both worlds win. Also, it is Shin Godzilla madness on this table. If there was this many Shin Godzillas in Tokyo during the events of Shin Godzilla, Tokyo would have been screwed, let alone the world. Possibly even the universe, let alone how fast this guy literally evolves. And expands. You looking up? So, what do I overall think of this figure? Overall, it's a very solid release in Playmates' ever-expanding Godzilla Toho figure classic series line, and I guess Monsterverse line, even though it has nothing to do with the Monsterverse, despite bearing the Godzilla name. I honestly recommend this in a certain way. Actually, you know, I recommended it in all ways. If you already own this figure, I would go ahead and say, get this one. If you do not have either, I still recommend getting this one. There's really no point in getting this one anymore because it's been discontinued. And this is literally its replacement, and they have no plans to go back to this one when this one's around. So unless you want to pay that hefty price for something that's so bad it's good figure, I honestly would just recommend saying this one. I mean, unless you want to try and track down both, which I'm one of the lucky individuals who have both of them, go right ahead. I would say that this guy is definitely an upgrade over this one, because, I mean, I might be biased, but the dorsal fins look a whole lot better painted. They gave him canines, for crying out loud. I mean, just look at those canines. And they literally gave him a tongue, which actually doesn't look that bad on Shin Godzilla now that I look at it. And they even gave him, like, even though he has, like, one less articulated tail, one less articulation in the tail than this one does, because keep in mind this one has 2, this one has only 1, it still has a much better build quality, and his overall just feels a lot better to handle. I overall just recommend this figure to literally anybody. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys liked it, definitely subscribe to the channel. Jesus loves you, God bless you all, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody.